Hello guys, as many of you know, I'm using Linux for about a year by now, and I've used it with my RTX 4070, and that worked besides one small problem. In one or two games I had a massive power draw problem, so after like 1 or 3 hours of playing, my frame rate just dropped into the abyss, and I thought that's because of bad NVIDIA driver support on Linux, but at the time AMD's 9000 series was not out yet. So I decided to wait and said to myself, as soon as AMD has good ray tracing and a solid upscaler, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is and buy it. So then the 9000 series launched. And this November I bought a 9070 XT, and my experience was, well, hot garbage. No matter what distro I tried, no matter what I did, games with RT or a game where I wanted to test path tracing or normal RT would just crash on me, which never happened on my RTX 4070. Hello guys, I'm recording this while editing, and I just wanted to point out the issues that I had more specifically. In Cyberpunk and Doom the Dark Ages, which were one of the couple of games that I tested, Doom the Dark Ages crashed my entire system as soon as I enabled path tracing, and Cyberpunk would crash even if I just set it to Ray Tracing Ultra. And yes, I can't live without ray tracing. And yeah, my entire system either, or the game itself. When the game itself crashes, but it happens every single time. And when my complete system crashes, like my screen goes completely black. First of all, the system freezes. I can't move anything. Then both of my monitors go black. Then they go on again, but it's still frozen. And I can only fix it if I completely hard reset my PC. So press the power button until the PC goes out and then turn it back on again. Just wanted to point that out because I didn't really talk about what particularly my issues were, and later while troubleshooting I found out that it's a driver related issue, and yeah, that's it. I tried weeks fixing it, and yes, I even installed Arch, but my problems never stopped disappearing. My games would crash, so like Cyberpunk, as soon as I start enabling RT and drive around the city for a while, the game either would crash on me or my entire system would crash on me. I checked everything. I used the correct version of Mesa, I used the right firmware, and stuff was just not fucking working. And some people might be saying, but it's a new GPU. If you would have bought the 7900 XTX, you wouldn't have these problems. And my answer to that is always, if I spend 650 euros on a fucking graphics card, I want the damn thing to just work as soon as I install the driver. It's frustrating. On NVIDIA, I opened the driver manager on Linux Mint or the other distros that I tested, and it just worked. And that's how it should be. I should not be troubleshooting on the driver level of things. It should not be. And I can already see the comments saying, why don't you just use Windows? Then, my friend, come over here. To me, I want control, complete control. I decide what data I want to give and which don't. And not let all of my data go to them without having any sort of control or knowing what data they are collecting. And I hate any monopoly. And since I don't play kernel level anti-cheats, I don't need Windows, and all of my content I can make in Linux. For writing scripts, I'm using OnlyOffice. For video editing, I use KDN Live. And for thumbnails, GIMP is good enough. And I know NVIDIA is also a very bad monopoly, and that they are doing with the prices whatever they want.
Do you like my jacket?
And screw consumers over and over again.
This is RTX 4090, well now with the Blackwell family, RTX 5070. 4090 performance at 549.
But there's stuff but their stuff at least fucking runs and works. I never had to troubleshoot anything on the driver level. The power draw problems were a huge problem, yes, but at least it wouldn't crash my complete system. So I think that I may be going to send my 9070 XT back and buy a 5070 Ti or a 5080 if I can afford one, because this is just unacceptable. As hard as I want to support AMD and Intel, because they are kind of the underdogs right now, but Intel doesn't have a high-end GPU yet, and AMD, well, you just heard what my problems with AMD GPUs are right now. And I know that there are rumors about a CES announcement of the new B770 flagship, but GPU prices are supposed to go up by 2026, and I'm not gonna risk it all and wait for the B770 just for the RAM pricing to fuck everything up, because then I will have to use a Vega 64, which came out in 2018 or even way more back in the day, on my 1440p display, because this shortage could last to 2028, at least that's what the experts say. And I don't want to use a Vega 64 for over 5 years or overpay for a GPU. And the Vega 64 is already struggling at 1080p right now, so yeah, just wanted to throw that out there, that the new AMD GPUs was not a good experience for me at all on Linux. Maybe you might have other experiences with Linux with your AMD GPU. I know that I will have a bit of performance loss with Nvidia, especially if I utilize heavily ray tracing, but that FPS loss, when I looked at benchmarks, was only like 10% or 10 FPS in general. And since the 5070 Ti and the 5080 are high-end GPUs, in my opinion, you're not gonna notice it in most titles. And I value stability a lot higher than I value raw FPS. And I think my final hot take is, I will only try out AMD again if they have a guarantee that their stuff, in fact, will just work day one on Linux. So, did you got problems with your AMD GPU on Linux? Or that you had the opposite experience, that you got big problems with Nvidia and AMD was working just fine on day one? And that's where I will leave it for today's video, guys. See you in the next video, and I hope I will get a better experience with my new 5070 Ti or 5080 as soon as it arrives. Goodbye.